Hello, everyone. Welcome to. I'm recording the first sovereignty challenge for the second time for you because a couple people told me that the sound came off after I showed the video in the last recording. So let's see if I can do this one even more efficiently and even more fun and fast so that you have a recording of the whole thing. So I'm going to share my screen. This is a real simple sovereignty challenge. It is called Expanding Your Influence Over Your Life. We're going to be working as we do these sovereignty challenges on kind of five dimensions of sovereignty. One is what do you pay attention to and how do you pay attention? That is like how your world shows up for you literally is affected by how you pay attention. And I actually want to show you a video on that right now just to prove the point. Um, Watch this scientific experiment that was done. It's been done several times, repeated several times, and it's really cool. So just have a look.
The monkey business illusion. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball. The correct answer is 16 passes. Did you spot the gorilla? For people who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, about half missed the gorilla. If you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color or the player on the black team leaving the game? Let's rewind and watch it again. Here comes the gorilla, and there goes a player, and the curtain is changing from red to gold. When you're looking for a gorilla, you often miss other unexpected events. And that's the monkey business illusion. Learn more about this illusion and the original gorilla experiment at theinvisiblegorilla.com.
Okay, so wow, that's just crazy when you think about it for a second. What that is saying, as far as I see it, is what you pay attention to literally changes the world that you live in moment by moment by moment. Therefore, it changes what you can respond to, how you can respond. Whoa, like that's crazy. It totally is consistent with the insights that quantum social science and quantum theory of mind provide to us. But it means that how you pay attention and what you pay attention to is not just a choice. It's not just thing that you want to be sovereign over because it's a fun little thing. It means that it is an ethical choice. It changes the whole future that you have for yourself, and it changes the world that you're creating and how that impacts everyone that you come into contact with and everyone around you. It's a big deal. So the question is, are you sovereign over that? Are you in control over that, and to what extent? Now, we're going to be going over several of the other sovereignty dimensions as well, and they all matter. So this first sovereignty challenge really focuses in on that first pillar of attentional sovereignty. But there's other kinds of sovereignty, like what do you believe and why? How much control do you have over that? Agentic sovereignty. How much control do you have over your actions and how effective they are and how fast you can take them and your capacity to generate results? It's powerful stuff. Relational sovereignty. How much control do you have over your capacity to create and maintain healthy agreements and healthy relationships with people? And then ontological sovereignty, maybe this kind of deep question of like, what's your place in the world? Who are you? What are you here for? How much sovereignty do you have over that? So there should maybe be some other things in here, like how do I spend my time? How do I spend my money? So it's not just how do I spend my attention, but I'm going to lump all those kind of really concrete basic stuff into agentic sovereignty, your capacity to generate results, so that we can kind of have this deep discussion, and maybe grow together. Like, what if we really grew together over these next, I don't know, 3, 4 months that we're going to do these sovereignty challenges, and we leveled up our sovereignty even by 10%? Would that make a difference for you? It would make a difference for me. So today, though, and a lot of times the sovereignty challenge is not just going to be one of those pillars, it's going to be a whole bunch of them at once. But I think that's just a useful framework to think about. Okay, what does it actually mean when we talk about sovereignty? And so I want to raise, this is an ancient insight from the Stoics, from ancient Greece, that your sovereignty grows when you focus on what you can control. So Marcus Aurelius said, do not waste time on what you cannot control. Epictetus, the more you seek to control external events, the less control you will have over your own life. And then this one's a little bit more, I don't know, off the beat. It's a little requires a bit more interpretation, but I think it's profound. Is that he who is brave is free, meaning you can't control the fear that you're going to feel, but you can control your response to it. And if you focus on that, you're free. So each of us has a circle of concern, and within that concern is a smaller circle of influence. So the types of things that you would be concerned about, but may have little to no influence over, is what others believe, what others say about you. You might have some influence over what others believe, but ultimately you don't control it. Your past, the weather, technology, taxes, your thrownness into this world, and all the accidents of your birth, being born I don't know, in Canada versus being born in Armenia or Hungary or Austria or, Egypt. And the things that you fear, you might have very little control over the things that you fear. Political movements, political discussions, even the outcome of your actions, you ultimately don't control that. So that all exists, though, within your circle of concern, or it might exist. It might be things that you're concerned about and many other things. And then there's this smaller set of things inside that circle, which is where you have a lot of influence and a lot of control over it. Now, the you can use this acronym FAME: focus, actions, mindset, and effort. You have a lot of control immediately over those four things. And then there's some other things in there: who I spend time with, my character development, my embodiment, what I learn, yada, and so on and so forth. So if you focus on things outside of your circle of influence, it shrinks it. And this produces a kind of negative victim energy that diminishes you in your life. It's kind of like, oh, if only that other person wasn't so da 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 da. If only in my childhood I had learned blah 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 blah. If only I had more money in my bank account. If only I wasn't so old. If only, and you can fill in the blank after that. It makes you into a victim, and it actually shrinks the things that you do have control over. However, if you focus repeatedly and consistently inside your circle of influence, that actually expands it. Like, some people have a lot of influence in the world. The president of the United States does actually have a lot of influence and control over world events and, politics and what people believe, much more so than the average person. And whoever the president is at any given time in history, they didn't get there by focusing on what they couldn't control. They got there by focusing on what they could control. And when you do, it creates this life, it feeds your life force, it feeds your sovereignty. This circle framework is adapted from Stephen Covey's fantastic book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where he goes into a bunch of exercises, including this one that I would say increases your sovereignty. So that's the premise for our sovereignty challenge, which started last week. If you're in, just jump in and say, I'm in. And here's the exercise. So number one is identify a current situation or upcoming event that's important to you, and then name it, describe it. What's its essence? what's the time horizon on it? Like, is this a 1 year thing? Is this month thing? Is this a 10-year thing? When did it start, or will it start, and when will it end? Who will it impact, and what's important about it to you? Now, I noticed that even when I wrote the answer to this first question, I started to notice where I could gain more sovereignty in the situation. Number two, write down everything related to the issue that worries you, that you are stressed by, or that you are concerned about, and over which you have little or no control. So for me, I had a lot to write down in this section. Mistakes that I had made in the past, my age, uh, you know, things to like things to do with my physical health, all those things, and energy level. I was like, I don't have the energy that I had when I was 20. A lot of this actually did focus on my age. It also focused on what people might say about me behind my back. It also focused on, oh, I might be wrong about my intuitions, about the thing I want to transform in my life. What if it doesn't work out? All things, and comparing myself to other people, all things that I had no control over, or minimal, very minimal control over, but I do have control over what I focus on. So next, write down everything that you can directly influence, change, or control. And again, it starts with fame, focus, actions, mindset, effort. And there may be other things that you can directly control and influence. Who you talk to, what you do first thing when you get up in the morning. It's all fair game in there. And then ask yourself the question that Navy SEALs are trained to ask themselves, and really think about this and write down anything that comes up. And so Navy SEALs are trained to ask this very specific question: what about this situation can I control immediately? And asking what you can control immediately changes your focus. It takes all the pressure off into all the world of things that you can't control, and has you home in on what's actually going to move the lever here that I have some influence over. And then question five, I think there's only five questions, is how does focusing on what you can control elevate your sovereignty? I lied, there might be six. The sixth question is application. So what actions do you see to take, and what's your next step? And let's make this real. Let's actually get into action. Let's do something about this week that makes a difference in our lives. Okay, so that's the first sovereignty challenge. I will repost this video in the post somehow, probably as a comment in the thread, or I don't know what the right way is, but I'll figure it out. And if you're in on joining us on this sovereignty challenge and the ones to follow, let me know, comment in the comments that you're in, and I love to see what you create out of this. Much love. Have a great day. And oh, if you're coming tonight, I will see you at the Fire's Edge on our regular Wednesday time of 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain. Okay, talk to you then. Bye.